have joined, ma'am.
Okay. Yeah. I think we can start.
Give me a moment, ma'am. I will start, ma'am.
Yes.
I'll start, ma'am.
Yes, start, please. Go ahead.
Okay. A very warm good morning to all the participants. I cordially welcome you all to the second day of webinar on Entrepreneurship Development organized by Padma Shri Institute of Management and Sciences, Bengaluru. It is my pleasant duty to welcome today's resource person, yes, ma'am. It is my pleasant duty to welcome today's resource person, Dr. Prasanna Behati. Dr. Prasanna Behati holds BE degree in Industrial and Production from KLE Engineering College, Bengaluru. KLE Engineering College, Belgaum. He completed his MBA in Mangalore University. He received his PhD degree in Management from Kannur University, Kerala. He has over 21 years of teaching experience as assistant professor in MBA department in Atria Institute of Technology, Christ University, Alliance University, etc. He is also the member in academic research committee for conducting Viva for PhD candidates of Presidency University and MS Ramaiah College. He has many publications in various journals and has attended many conferences, including Financial Mathematics Winter School at IIT Delhi, Maths Department in 2012, and 1 week in art software in ISI Kolkata in 2015. Since beginning, he has been engaging subjects like quantitative techniques, finance, etc. Today, he will be giving us a talk on funding opportunities for entrepreneurs. We are highly delighted to have you with us here today, sir, and over to you, sir. Prasanna, sir.
Thanks, madam. Thank you very much for giving me an opportunity. Okay. Today, as the topic is given to me, funding opportunities for entrepreneurs. Okay. So this is a very important and interesting topic, not only for just management graduates, but even it may be for all the streams, I hope. Maybe from science background, other background. Okay, this funding opportunities for entrepreneurs. Entrepreneurship, there is no limit age. Okay, it may start at a young age 20 also, or it may start at 50, what will it be? So this topic, funding opportunities, I try to give some of the points relevant from the sources which I have got, internet sources and other material. Okay. So the plan of this program goes like this. Just I want to tell something about startups, then Government of Karnataka initiative, then State Finance Corporation, especially our KSFC Karnataka State Financial Corporation, then other development institutions like IDBI Bank, then IFCI Limited, KSIDC, then comes ICCI Bank and some commercial banks, then Karnataka State Small Industries Development Corporation and other institutions. So these are the topics which I'm going to uh, cover in the presentation for today's topic. Okay. So first one, startups. So we have been hearing this word startup for last say 5 to 7 years. So this has gained momentum in the last say a decade. Startups. Okay. So just now, just about a few days back, we have heard in the newspaper, Delhi has overtaken Bangalore as startup capital. So in January 2021. So Bangalore has been a hub of startups. Many of the startups have found a place here. It may be like startup, maybe say the Flipkart or say other conductors, electronics industries, maybe like Manthan semiconductors like this. So many have taken birth here in Bangalore, but in January, Delhi has overtaken Bangalore. And as per the reports available, 64,000 startups are there recognized as of now. 64,000 startups which are recognized. Okay. This may cross 1 lakh by this year if the same momentum goes up and if there are no issues of what we faced in the last 2 years, some of the issues due to pandemic and all that. If the growth picks up, if the GDP growth picks up as it is given in the uh, economic survey and also in the budget, they have highlighted so many issues. So maybe we expect 1 lakh or so the number of startups to cross. Okay. And most important point is the valuation of startup. So startup, when they make humble beginning as a small startup, so when the opportunities come in, they grow in size, they get funding, and the valuation is very, very important. So usually when the valuation, when it crosses or when it becomes equal or just crosses $1 billion, $1 billion, that's nearly equal to rupees 7,500 crore, 7,500 crore rupees. If we take the exchange rate of dollar with rupee, nearly equal to say $1 equal to 75 rupees. If we take say 7,500 crore rupees, then it is called as unicorn. It's called as unicorn. In last year, June, say about 6 months back, in India, there were only 50 unicorns. In India, there were only 50 unicorns. Now it has come to 90. If you look at other countries, US, 487 US, China 301, then comes India, third position 90, UK 39, okay, then comes Germany around 26, like this we have. But out of US 487 unicorns, 65 are started by Indians, which is a pride moment for us. Okay, so the way they are having resources and all this, so 487, if they compare to India, so India is also not lagging behind. So with so much constraints and all this, we are able to notch up 90. So support of government, support of other resources are available plenty. And now you can see the source is from Aureus Unicorn Report, the source. Okay. Last year only you can see the Zomato and Paytm. If you look at Zomato, it was started somewhat in 2013, say nearly 10-year-old. The online food aggregator technology firm, Zomato. So that firm itself made humble beginning about 10 years or say decade back. And they went for initial public offer. They wanted to raise equity share capital from the market. And when they go for the first time, it is called as initial public offer. So there was huge response and they wanted to raise 9,300 crore rupees equity share capital through IPO. And that was done. Similarly, another firm, the firm Paytm. So this Paytm also, it was started around 2012 by Vijay Shekhar Sharma. So 18,300 crore rupees they have raised. So these were all have made humble beginning about 9 to 10 years back. And over the years, due to the growth in economy, opportunities available, and they have made huge success. So PATM 18,300 crore rupees. It's one of the biggest IPOs till now. Okay. So this is how we had the startups. What I'm trying to tell is the startups are having huge opportunities. There are huge opportunities for startups. Okay, looking at the economic scenario, looking at the different sectors, making use of the internet, making use of the softwares, and with the few number of technical persons available, so they can notch up very huge growth. And as of now, as I said, 90, so it may go to another 200 or so by the end of this year. Okay, so startups are very good opportunities nowadays available. And this was not, we had not heard about 20 years back when we were students in engineering and MBA. We had not heard of this. So this has caught up now, momentum. Okay, and this is one thing. Next one is Government of Karnataka Initiative. See, for industries development, entrepreneur, Gov Karnataka last year in October 11th and 12th at Palace Grounds, they conducted what is called as Kaigarika Utsav, means industry festival. Exactly, if you see the meaning of Kaigarika Utsav means it is a industry celebration. So what was the theme? The theme was focus on, in Kannada they say Udyoga Needu, Udyoga Data Nagu. It means give jobs and become entrepreneur. This is the focus. Give jobs and become entrepreneur. So government will try to give more facilities, okay, more of assistance. So this was the main objective of the 2-day program at Palace Grounds. And there, Chief Minister Basavaraj Bommai, then Industries Minister Mr. Murugesh Nirani sir, and Minister of Higher Education, Science and Technology, ITBT, our Honorable Dr. Ashwath sir had participated, and they have given speech. They have issued, they gave so much points relevant to this entrepreneurship and facilities available. Okay, so it is seen that government has provided 50 lakh rupees grant in aid for many startups in Bengaluru and also in tier 2, tier 3 cities. So that's not only just Bengaluru, which is the focal point here, but other cities like tier 2, tier 3 cities, maybe Mysuru or Shivamogga, uh, uh, Hubli, Belgaum, Mangalore. These are other cities which have potential. And there with some limited resources also, they can come out with some startups and the government is ready for giving grant in aid. And government, one more thing is skilled training is provided to around 75,000 candidates who are belonging to our SC/ST and women graduates. Okay, so this is one major step by the government to give the scope, to give importance, and around 75,000 the candidates are going to be benefited. Okay, and also industrial department, the industrial department, industries and commerce department. So this is another one department of under government of Karnataka. They are conducting skill training programs in various sectors and offer career guidance. And next day, we had taken our students also from Padma Shri College, students who had taken to the Palace Ground, and the students were able to watch the speeches of Chief Minister, Industry Minister, and our Minister of Higher Education, Honorable Ashwath sir. Okay, so there was Kaigarika Adalat also to address the problems, difficulties faced. We saw what were the problems faced by the industrialist entrepreneurs, how they approached. There on the stage itself, the honorable ministers were giving instructions and solutions, and they were trying to give the guidance, and it was very actually useful, and this will be motivating many of the entrepreneurs to come forward. So our students also watched it. It was very useful. And one more thing is the Additional Chief Secretary, Department of Industries and Commerce, Ramana Reddy sir was available. Our students got an opportunity to interact with him. And it was very useful session with Ramana Reddy sir. And he gave valuable guidance on entrepreneurship opportunities available and what are the steps taken by the government, what students can do. And it was very encouraging and motivation for our students. Okay, this 2-day session was found to be very useful, and I hope such sessions in the future by the government of Karnataka will be very helpful for the small scale industries, for the entrepreneurs, for the startups. I hope this will be useful to the budding entrepreneurs. If any of you are having any of say intention, idea, okay, so such programs will be very useful to you. Okay, next one. Okay, Karnataka State Financial Services. Okay, this is like we have many state financial corporations. Many states, they have their own government or owned financial corporations are there. For example, in Karnataka, we have KSFC, Karnataka State Financial Corporation. And in Kerala, we have Kerala State Financial Corporation. Like this, we have. So here in KSFC, it is one of the major organization or financial institution under government of Karnataka. And they have been playing a major role in promoting industries, entrepreneurship, and also for promoting entrepreneurship among SC, ST, and women's. Okay, this was started in 1959. Okay, and in the first year itself, they had given around 28 lakh rupees for 11 projects. Then onwards, KSFC has made a major significant contribution for the growth of SSIs, for the growth of small scale industries, and for the development of backward areas. Especially SSIs are the major, they are having major problems because my area also, small scale industries I have focused, especially for implementation of ERP software for small scale industries. I visited many of the industrial areas in Karnataka, like Peenya, then Rajanagar industrial area, then Belagavi, Shimoga, like this. So SSIs, which are very much essential backbone of the industries. Okay, so for these SSIs, the KSFC has contributed significantly, and also for development of backward areas. All the industries, if they are located in Bangalore only, so how about the other areas? So backward areas, the promotion that's taken on a priority basis, and promotion of first generation entrepreneurs. If backward areas are promoted, if they are developed, then there'll be more opportunities there. Then there'll be more job employment, and the infrastructure will come, like roads, water, then communication, and all this. So this will also help in increasing or boosting the local economy, and it will reduce the traffic growth of cities like Bangalore, Bombay, and all this. So KSFC has done a major contribution to the development of these backward areas also. Even on some of the ways. Madam, is it audible? Madam? Indu madam, is it audible? Hello?
So it is audible, but little disturbance is there. Some creaky noise is coming along with your voice.
Okay.
Is audible.
Is it okay, madam, now?
Yeah, now it is clear.
Now is it okay, madam?
Yeah, yes, sir.
Thank you, madam. KSFC has assisted around 1.7 lakh units with cumulative sanction of over rupees 17,880 crore rupees. Okay, some of the major organizations like So they all have a lot with the assistance of KSFC. So especially ACE designers, ACE is led by Sir sir in the year 1979, major industry group. So they started with a small conductor and later they went into manufacture of machines. So machine tool industry is a major component, major industries. Machine tools are used for manufacturing other machines. So capital goods industry sector is important to manufacture. So ACE Designers Limited, we can see the plan in that was started. So in the 61 years of existence, KSFC has contributed a lot for the growth of SSI's development areas and promotion of the entrepreneurs. So assistance to the first generation entrepreneurs, it has stood at around rupees 7,679 crore rupees. It's almost $1 billion, you can say, as of now, $1 billion. Okay, with 87,000 units. 87,000 units they have been benefited, and also for the backward areas, if you look at, so they have been benefited to the extent of rupees 6,665 crore rupees, and the number of units are 81,000 units. And they give different types of loans like term loans, corporate loans, and interest subsidy for SC/ST entrepreneurs. This is a major step. Interest subsidy for SC/ST entrepreneurs. That's another mark by the KSFC. Okay, interest rate is reduced from 14% to 11%, and KSFC has disbursed around rupees 400 crore rupees in 445 cases for the last year, 2020 and 21. In the year 2020-21, which was a difficult year due to the pandemic issue, many of the industries were hit. The growth rate has come down, but still the KSFC went ahead with the dispersal. And also it has offered some insurance schemes, type with the LIC for the group insurance schemes for welfare of the employees. And also it has tied up with the United India Insurance and IFCO Tokyo for non-life insurance covers, especially like vehicles, machine breakdown and all that. Next one is IDBI Bank. IDBI or IDBI Bank, which you can see now, IDBI Bank. As of now, IDBI Bank only exists. IDBI Bank. IDBI is not there. It was actually started in 1964 as a subsidiary of RBI to provide financial assistance for the projects of national importance. And in 76, the ownership was transferred to Government of India. Then after 1990s, when the government started the initiative for private banks, so IDBI Bank, commercial bank division was started. That took place, IDBI and IDBI Bank. And now if you look at the funding financing available by IDBI, so there are so many initiatives taken by the IDBI Bank in the last, say, 20 years or so. Say, National Stock Exchange of India, NSE. And one of the promoters is IDBI, National Stock Exchange, around 1992. Before that, only BSE was there, Bombay Stock Exchange, BSE. So government started initiative for promoting one more exchange, screen-based trading. The government motto was screen-based trading to come over some of the hassles which were there in the earlier system. So it was the one NSE. They had adopted technology. They had their own leased communication lines for connecting the major participants all over India. So this was a major achievement in the year 1992. 30 years back, if you see, there was no internet at that time, but the communication was provided through leased lines, NSE. Similarly, we have NSDL, National Securities Depository Limited, NSDL 1996. Then Stock Holding Corporation of India Limited, SHCIL. So that is mainly for distribution of some of the government bonds, for the distribution of the government bonds, Stock Holding Corporation of India Limited. Then credit rating agency like CARE, Credit Analysis and Research Limited. We call it as CARE, Credit Analysis and Research Limited. It is simply called as CARE. That is required for the credit rating is required for issue of the bonds. Whenever a company wants to issue some bonds, the rating has to be done. Rating has to be done by the credit rating agencies. So one of these companies, this Credit Analysis and Research Limited. One more is Exim Bank, Export Import Bank, which was in 1982. Then we have IFCI, Industrial Finance Corporation Limited, IFCI. We just call it as IFCI Limited. Okay, we just call it as IFCI Limited. It's a public sector, non-banking financial corporation. Public sector means government owned. Public sector means government owned. So government owned, either it may be central government owned or it may be state government owned. But here we are all talking with respect to the central government owned. So many of these or all these are central government owned. Okay. So public sector undertaking, it's non-banking financial corporation. It's not a bank. So Industrial Finance Corporation, it's a financing corporation. It's separate from bank. So we call it as non-banking financial corporation. And it has provided support to many of the projects like Adani Mundra ports. And in Karnataka, you might have heard of Raichur Thermal Power Corporation, RTC. It's in Raichur, Shaktinagar. So like this. And if you look at a recent, government has placed rupees 200 crore for SCs with IFCI to promote entrepreneurship among SCs and to provide concessional finance. So IFCI is having this much of responsibility. So to promote entrepreneurship, that to at a promotional, at a concessional finance. And some of the initiatives taken by the IFCI for project finance. So for different sectors like renewable energy, for telecommunication, for roads, airports, chemicals, pharmaceuticals, electronics, textiles, real estate, okay, smart cities. So the government had announced smart city project in the year 2015. So around 100 cities were identified for smart cities and for developing an urban infrastructure, maybe like metro rail, or it may be like providing high-speed connectivity. So many of the projects have been taken up in the last 5 to 7 years. So this financing of these projects, some of them are taken by the IFCI. Other than this, you can also see how they provide financing through balance sheet funding. So looking at the balance sheet, so they may provide finance, loan against shares. So if the company is having equity shares, so they may provide loans, lease rental discounting. Okay, lease rental, lease and hire purchase. These are the other types of services. Leasing is very important service in many of the industries. When a particular small scale factory doesn't have enough funds to purchase machinery or major equipment, then they can go for leasing. They can take lease. So they will provide lease rental for a period of say 2 years, 3 years, or 5 years. They will use the asset, then they will give it back. So this is how the companies will save huge investment, capital expenditure cost on the equipment. Instead of buying it, they can take on lease. So even airline sector, if you see, so many of the companies, they do not purchase aircraft because aircraft cost ranges from rupees 100 crore, 200 crore like that. So they may go for lease. So Air India has got some of its own aircraft and some of them are leased. So lease rental is paid per month like that or per year. So for financing of this or leasing of the equipment and all this, so the IFCI will be useful. They will provide finance. So lease rental discounting, then promote the funding, then working capital requirement. And these are some of the initiatives by the IFCI. And then comes ICICI Limited and ICICI Bank. As of now, we have only ICICI Bank. Now, wherever you see, you can see the bank ICICI Bank. The ICICI Limited doesn't exist. ICICI Limited does not exist. Only ICICI Bank you can see. It's a private sector bank. ICICI Bank is a private bank, fully private bank. But its origin, if you look at, it was formed as a company in year 1955 and promoted by government, especially for development. It was a development financial institution for providing assistance to medium-term and long-term projects. And the objective was to create development financial institution. Okay. So after 1950s, there was so many projects. So government had taken the initiative to start some development institutions like ICSI is one, IFCI is the one like that. Okay. Then after some years, say till 1990s, ICICI Limited was providing financial assistance. But in the 1990s, when the government came out with liberalization policy, 1991 to be precise, and they came out with the liberalization policies. So some of the private sector banks were allowed to come up, and ICICI started ICICI Bank, and ICICI Bank grew in size, and that acquired ICICI Bank. It was in the year 2000. ICICI Bank acquired ICICI company, and it's case of reverse merger. So now only if you see ICICI Bank, only we see ICICI. As a company, it has done lot of development finance activities for about 4 decades, from 1955 to 1995. For 4 decades, ICICI company has played a major role in financing of the many initiatives, many of the projects. Then comes what we have is State Industries Development Bank of India, or you can simply call it as SIDBI, State Industries Development Bank of India. And it was started in 1990. In Lucknow, and there are 5 regional offices and 33 branch offices. So the assistance is for the small scale industries and for subcontract firms, and also for export oriented units, export oriented MSME. MSME means micro, small, medium enterprises. Earlier we were saying only SME, but now we also added the term MSME, micro, small, medium enterprises, under a scheme called as Ubarte Sitar scheme. Okay. Then also for lease and hire purchase. Lease and hire purchase. Lease and hire purchase, as I told, these are the services, financial services. Some firms may go for lease, either they may go for finance lease or operating lease, or hire purchase. So this hire purchase means they will purchase the equipment, and they have to pay the rentals every period. At the end of the year, the asset will be owned by the company which is using it. So that's another type of service. So lease and hire purchase firm, they may benefit. Okay, they may get some assistance. Okay, and this will be more useful for the SSIs which are in need of the equipment, machinery like that. And interest rate is also based on MCLR. MCLR means marginal cost of funds based lending rate. Marginal cost of funds based lending rate, MCLR. So this is one like a reference rate, you can say. It's one like reference rate. Usually it will be lesser, say like 0.5% lesser. Okay. So this interest rate is based on MCLR of the bank, or and average for 6 years. The term will be for 6 years. And also it provides foreign currency loans for export orders. It will provide foreign currency loans. Then Karnataka Small Industries Development Corporation, KSSIDC. So this KSSIDC, actually it's not finance. It's not like a lending finance like you are a KSFC. This is for a special development of the industrial estates and industrial facilities. Earlier, it was called as Mysore Small Industries Corporation. Now, it's now called KSSIDC, and they provide assistance for industrial estates, for industrial facilities, for marketing also, and also for supply of machinery under hire purchase scheme. And they provide guidance to SSI industries. SSI means small scale industries, and they provide technical library facilities. Then comes commercial banks. Then comes commercial banks. So we have both the private sector and public sector commercial banks. Now public sector, there are 12 banks. Earlier there were 28 banks. In the last 2-3 years, due to the restructuring of the banks, so some of the banks were merged. For example, Syndicate Bank merged with Canara Bank. Then Corporation Bank is merged with Andhra Bank, and Corporation Bank merged with Union Bank. Like this, mergers and have taken place. Now we have 12 banks, and among them is State Bank of India is the biggest bank. And private banks like you have ICCI Bank, Axis Bank, then other banks, Federal Bank. Some of them are new banks, some of them are old economy banks. Karnataka Bank, old bank, then South Indian banks, Federal Bank. So these are all some of the banks which have been, these banks, government public sector banks, they have their own wings for providing loans to industries for SSIs, and they have branches in industrial estate. Say, for example, if you go to Pune Industrial Estate, we can see some of the banks opening, some of the banks have opened their branches, like it may be State Bank of India or Bank of Maharashtra, like that. And apart from this, there are other banks also, cooperative banks, then NABARD, National Agricultural Bank for Rural Development, NABARD, which is a part of RBI. So the commercial banks, which are very important, okay. By opening the salary account also, they are renting services, many of the banks, private banks. So they will be they will be opening the salary account of the employees of the organizations. Okay, they provide like zero balance. Okay, for industries like, for example, Toyota Kirloskar Motors. So many of the employees, they have their salary account with ICICI Bank. Okay, like this, many industries, even it may be a small firm, so they may have tie up with the banks and they will open the salary account. So this is also one of the ways the banks have been useful for the industries. And then apart from this, we have other initiatives, other institutions like District Industry Center, then Small Industries Services Institute, the Entrepreneurship Development Organization, then AWAKE. AWAKE means Association of Women Entrepreneurs of Karnataka, then Khadi and Village Industries Commission. These are some of the corporations. So with this, we come to the end of the funding opportunities available for the entrepreneurs. So whatever some material I've got, I have just tried to put it in a simple form and I try to present. Indu madam.
Thank you very much, sir, for giving us such beautiful insights, for giving us detailed information about the funding opportunities available for entrepreneurs. Thank you very much once again, sir.
Thank you, madam.
Now the session is open for any queries, discussion, questions. You can interact with Prasanna, sir. Any questions?
Any questions if students wants to ask, they can ask. It's open for questions.
Okay, one thing just I want to tell that especially SSIs, they have a lot of problems with funding, because I also worked in a small scale factory. In Pune, I worked in a small scale factory for about 6 months. Then when I came to Bangalore after MBA, I worked in a factory in Pune. So being a production executive, and I have to look for other initiatives. So Funds availability is very big problem. Getting loans, working with capital loans. If we get order from some supplier, we have to get some funds. So this nowadays SSIs, okay, many of these SSIs are having problems because last 2 years. So the government initiatives, okay, government initiatives have been very useful for the SSIs, and the competition in the other sectors. For example, many of the industry, many of the people, they are having online on Amazon, Flipkart, and all this. So this is what they are getting available directly. So if you look in this peer, so small scale industries in India, they have play a major role. So these government initiatives, these are the need of the hour. So the one which was conducted by Government of Karnataka had been very useful, and even the promotion schemes by Government of India are also very useful. Okay, any questions?
So
Please?
thank you, sir.
Okay.
Any
Thank you, madam.
questions?
So funding, if they have to go for their requirement, can they go for 2 places, or it should be done like one place, and then if they don't get other place, or simultaneously can they look for funding?
Madam, when they go to our bank, actually they will be and they will do all what's the requirement. They will look at whether it's
Verification.
working capital and all that. Whether it's a project, they will look at detailed project report DPR. Then based on that, what's the promoter's contribution? Then they will look into. And if they're having any problems, any cases, something like that, then it is not so easy to get the sanction. In some cases, in some of the institutions, uh, they may get if borrower comes and maybe with the detailed scrutiny, they may get some funding. Okay. So for example, in KSFC, they will have detailed scrutiny. So because I worked under one executive director, Dr. Ganeshan sir was there. He was executive director of KSFC, and he came as principal in 8th Engineering College. I had an opportunity to work under him, and during some of the occasions, I used to ask about KSFC, how they'll do funding and all that. So it was very useful to get guidance from him. So KSFC, they will look at priority, who is the entrepreneur, which area, and what is the risk available, like that. So some of the criteria they will see, and they will try to extend the loans. So they will see that it will go for the intended purposes, and it will be utilized fully, and there is no much of default or risk probability, like that. So this how they have their own set of criteria, and they'll go through. And some of the banks, even though they go through some of the procedures and all this, but sometimes they may the borrower, if he has a mind of deceiving the bank, he may deceive, but it will come to be known after some time. So we are hearing in the newspaper in the last, say, 5-6 years, but law of the land is supreme. Then they will not take any, they will not leave any stone unturned. So definitely it will be received. That definitely it will be taken back after some time.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, madam.
Sir, completely one should depend on funding, or they should have their own capital?
Madam,
as
actually,
a-
the promoters, they have to bring some part of their funding. They have to show what the funding, how much they are contributing from their that's owners' contribution. Then how much they may require. They have to give detailed plan. How much is the projection next 2-3 years? How they are going to get their cash flows? Okay. Then what are the risk factors? Then what is their previous history? All this when they have to present, then that only will form the basis for sanctioning the loan. So it may take, say, 3 months, 6 months. Sometimes it may be rejected also if due to non-compliance of the procedure. It may be rejected also. When we had asked for, say, some of the working capital loans, so in the factory they went through so many records. They came and did inspection and all this. So this for working capital, we have given so much. And if they want to start a new factory,
Okay, sir.
or then they may again go through the detailed project report. So this may be done to avoid any type of risk, any type of say, fraudulent practices. So government banks or private banks, whatever it be, even private banks like ICCI Bank, when they have extended huge sum, say 2,000 crore rupees in year 2001, they have extended, then they were not able to recover. Then Surface Act came into being, Surface Act 2003. This was a major boon for many of the finance companies or banks to recover the amount which they had earlier sanctioned.
Thank you, sir. The participants are requested to give the feedback. The link has been given. Kindly provide the feedback. Any more questions?
Okay, madam, and thank you. I express my sincere thanks to Indu madam, and I express sincere thanks to Principal Anuradha madam and the staff of organizers of this webinar for giving me an opportunity. Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, sir. On behalf of Padma Shri Institute of Management and Sciences, I thank you wholeheartedly, Prasanna sir, for giving us detailed information about various funding opportunities for entrepreneurs. Thank you very much once again, sir.
Thank you, madam.
The participants are informed regarding today's evening session. Please attend today's evening session without fail. The topic of today's evening session would be entrepreneurship as tool for global development. And today's evening session's resource person would be Professor Manoj Kumar Mishra. So see you all in the evening session. Have a great day ahead. Thank you. Thank you very much once again, Prasanna sir.
Thank you. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Hopefully everyone has given their feedback.